And we are live. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Seriously Loco supporter watch-along for Colorado Springs Switchbacks versus El Paso Locomotive. I'm Phil Bakke, and I'm joined tonight by Mika Burrell. Mika, we're getting ready to watch yet another El Paso Locomotive game, despite the better advice of our family, friends, and physicians.
Yeah, we are gluttons for punishment, I guess. But yes, so Locomotive on the road to Colorado Springs Switchbacks. I think you and I were pretty down on the boys, but come match day, we just got to throw our full support behind them, and hopefully this can be the turning point in the season. Because it's been extremely disappointing thus far. But yeah, Colorado kind of in a bit of an upward trajectory with their first win against Oakland. So tall task tonight, but we'll see what they can do.
Big task. And yeah, it is. It's getting into must-win territory, which you don't love early on. But we are having some of our regulars in the chat. So, Son of Jeddah 99 with the hello, and we've got Mark Ramos as well. What's going on, everyone? Up the Locos, and that really is what it comes down to. So, if you are joining in, just go ahead and interact in the chat. It does make this a better viewing experience, I will say, and can help take the edge off in certain cases. Hopefully, that's not what we're in for tonight, and hopefully, Locomotive can do the business up in Colorado, which, to be fair, historically they have performed well up in Colorado Springs. So, talking about Locomotive's lineup going into this one, Mika, I mean, minimal changes from what we saw last weekend against Tulsa. So just the single change, I think, in terms of Miles Lyons coming in for Javier Navarez. An interesting wrinkle that was actually spotted by Christian, our co-host on Seriously Loco. He pointed out that the FC Juarez loanees not featured at all. So between
So Navarez comes out
yep
for Lions.
yep
No Gonzalo Pelua, and our lonely goalkeeper, whose name completely escapes me right now.
oh, it just came to me, Pasquale.
Pascual, yes. So yeah, that is very odd. I mean, one has to think it's something to do with FC Juarez. What that is, I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, but I mean, the good news question mark is that Brandon Craig is back on the bench,
Yeah.
available for selection. So that's nice to see after sustaining that ankle injury some weeks back. So still no Petr Petrovic though. So I guess the injury was still too fresh for this trip. But
Yeah. The other question in the chat is regarding Elijah Martin. I don't want to say there has been no news, but I mean, essentially, it's like I think the word was he was struggling for fitness, and that news hasn't changed.
yeah, when he joined the club, I guess as soon as he got to El Paso, he got pretty sick. Just like really bad allergies and like upper respiratory stuff. So that really robbed him of preseason, from what I understand. One would think he'd be somewhere closer to match fitness by now, but I haven't heard an update on him in some weeks. So I'll keep it in mind to ask the next time we have a chance to talk to Brian. But yeah, he's did he make a match day squad yet? I don't think. Maybe in the friendly.
He played in the friendly
Yeah,
some
in the
minutes,
friendly.
but yeah, I don't think he's actually even. He hasn't featured other than that.
Yep. Yeah, it's a bit of a curious one, but
Yeah.
um, yeah.
Well, we have Joe, who said he just came from our post mortem of Tulsa.
Oof.
and yeah, rough listening probably, but hopefully, we did really appreciate a lot of folks' feedback on the pod, in terms of, we do try to often strike a balance between being realistic and being fair, and being understanding of the fact that these are human beings doing a job. So trying to balance a lot. But one of the major talking points in that postmortem, Mika, was the midfield, that number 8 role, the midfield balance, and basically how it's shaping up. The team in and of itself named the same. In theory, a switch of Joaquin Rivas's positioning could turn this into a 3-4-3 versus a 5-3-2. Any likelihood of that actually happening tonight?
I mean, anything is possible. And obviously, nowadays in the modern game, systems, well, formations really are starting points, and the formation can change depending on if you're off the ball or on it and where you are on the pitch. But I would be surprised if this wasn't the 5-3-2 that we've come to know and maybe not love. But yeah, I mean, so theoretically, it could be a 3-4-3 with Stoffer and Miles Lyons acting as auxiliary wide midfielders, and then having the 3 at the back and then the 3 up front. But yeah, if Brian is kind of sticking with what he thinks works, then I'd be shocked that it would be anything but that 5-3-2. But we'll see. I mean, I think what really is kind of interesting also is that like the bench, I don't know that you can really change much on the bench. I think the only real like attacking difference maker that we have is Tumi Moshabani. So watch for that as well as in how we use the squad, because I don't know necessarily that the subs have been that impactful in recent games.
Yeah, and that's a completely fair shout. I think in general, we've done like for like until very, very late stages. Like we haven't really done formation changes until sort of the last maybe 10, 15 at the most. We've seen some different systems. So it will be interesting. I think in general, obviously for Locomotive, the biggest difference we're going to want to see tonight, and I do have a stream as well, just in the we're just in the pre-match. It is there is some May the 4th vibes at Widener Field in Colorado Springs, a lot of Star Wars shirts, some novelty lightsabers it looks like were handed out maybe by by the club. So all that being said, I do think there is regardless of a system change, regardless of how the team actually goes out there, the two things that I would really want to see are, really just one thing. Basically, there being more cohesion between our midfield and our attack. I think we've seen the defense and the midfield can play together. But then there's this sort of big disconnect, and we're just not seeing that connection with the attack. And even within the attack, just Justin and Amando, the way that they link up, I think finding a way to make it more natural and feel less forced in the way that they link up, and just making sure that they're in positions where they can actually support each other. And it's not everybody sort of just having to do their own thing and rely on their own individual quality. So hopefully we see some more cohesion tonight in attack. It has been a brutal few weeks in terms of chance creation for Locomotive. So just hoping for better on that end. But we also have the opponents to discuss briefly. And I mean, the only real change in terms of how Colorado Springs have come at this is that Yosuke Hanya, it starts from the bench rather than in the starting lineup, and it looks like
Tejada gets the start.
Tejada, yeah. And Tejada coming off of a goal-scoring performance in that Hanya role, which, I mean, he's essentially played as a left winger opposite Malik Foster. Foster gets 2 assists in their last game out. Could have probably had a third if Hanya had finished it off. So clearly a thought here that Juan Tejada is the hot hand and otherwise unchanged 11 from a solid 2-0 win over Oakland Roots in Oakland.
Yeah, it's interesting though, because I think if you're seeing the starting lineup now on your screen,
graphic,
they seem to be suggesting that this is a 3-4-3 with Tejada kind of playing off Foster and Damos, and then that kind of displaces Zandy out into a wide role. So that's kind of interesting. I wonder if they're trying to match up with us in certain areas of the pitch. But obviously it remains to be seen how that all works. But on paper though, that front three is outstanding. So we'll have our work cut out for us.
Yeah, for me, I would say it's probably. I'm chuckling. I had to take a pause because I'm chuckling at the fact that Locomotive's graphic is accurate when last week the graphic was just like absolutely insane at home. So this is probably an accurate graphic of how Locomotive line up. For Colorado Springs, I'd be surprised if it's anything other than a 4-2-3-1. Foster's kind of played wide right. I think Tejada will be wide left. Ronaldo Damas through the center with Zach Zandy sort of as that 10 behind him.
I have kickoff, by the way.
I have kickoff as well right now. So we are, I think we're just about lined up. I'm 6, 7, 8 seconds in right now.
Okay. Yeah, I'm pretty much right. A little bit ahead of you, but not too bad. So.
Okay.
All right.
Well, we are underway in Colorado. Obviously, Locomotive in the all whites and Colorado Springs in the all blacks. So I will say, aesthetically, this is a nice matchup and a nice time for the all whites when you're playing a team that wears all black.
Well, right, and I feel like some of our like more iconic wins on the road have been in white, so
that's fair. That's fair.
So hopefully that is good juju for us. But
we've got some shouts that Juan Tejada looks like Danny Rojas from Ted Lasso, which he sort of does. He sort of does. I'm going to go ahead and just leave chat alone for a second. But Ronaldo Damas flagged for offside there. Obviously, Damas, I mean, goes without saying that he's a big threat. And I think you highlighted just how he kind of put himself about in Oakland, despite not ending up on the stat sheet.
Right. Well, and it's runs just like that are going to strike heart, fear into the heart of that defense. He's offside for that one, but still, when you've got a guy like that just hanging out on your shoulder, it's bound to cause some issues. But ostensibly, Brian Clarhaut should know how to plan for this player, having been his former boss. So we'll see how they deal with him tonight. Yeah.
Now just a couple of games, I guess, where between facing Forrest Lasso in Tampa and now Damas in Colorado Springs, a couple of former GIF Sundsvall players lining up on the opposite side of Brian Clarhaut. Little bit of trading of long balls here early on. Like both teams really playing quite direct in the early stages. We'll see how long it continues, especially with the amount of, as a nice little win back here. I think it was Eric Calvillo in the press, but Rivas went really, no, it was Liam Rose actually, who played a really early pass and just kind of selected the wrong option. I think he might have had a little bit of time to delay that. Now Colorado Springs trying to break, and Alfaro puts it out for a throw. That sort of moment is, I mean, the transitions, that's what this Locomotive team is sort of built for. And
As they start a really good one now with the
Oh yeah,
Bolaño tackle.
yeah, this is nice. And Rivas playing in a wider position on that, and the ball does find its way through to Dylan. He's kind of delaying and waiting for runners. Lyons offered first, but he ends up playing it back to Liam Rose, and now this is actually a little bit interesting. Bolu is pushed really far forward in possession. He's almost playing in the 6 in possession.
Yeah, is this 4 at the back? Question mark?
Might be. Is this ball? Oh, and foul on the edge of the area here, as I think it was Rivas who went for the flick over the head of the Switchbacks defender and just got caught. He looked like he was lining up to shoot initially, then went for the flick and just kind of gets kicked. And dangerous free kick here right on the edge of the area. This has, I know it's 4 minutes.
This looks different.
This looks different, and I'm liking what I'm seeing. It could go horribly wrong. It could go horribly wrong, but it looks, I like that we're seeing Rivas in wide areas and at the edge of the penalty area. So whatever we're doing to make that happen, let's continue that.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, it's ostensibly the first touch he takes near the penalty area is giving us this really good free kick opportunity. So yeah, long may it continue.
And it's Rivas and Calvillo over the free kick. We know Eric. We talked on the pod about what a good striker the ball Eric is. It's him who sets it down, and it does look like it shapes for a right foot here, but just wide.
Yeah, not the worst effort.
Just wide. Good effort. Gets it around the wall, but can't get it to bend back inside of the post.
They are listing Arun Basujevic and Ricardo Zacharias as out due to injury, so that's interesting.
That is, Zacharias a new one, and I mean Zacharias a bit. Not to. This is not me being critical of him. Locomotive really have the press on.
Bolu getting up
and Bolu is
winning the ball is what we've been wanting to see all season. He is a destroyer.
He's definitely playing in the 6, it seems. And Amando receiving in a good area too. Looked like he may have been fouled, but I guess referee deciding that he's just gone down a little bit easy there. Now Malik Foster running into space. Good tackle there by Tony Alfaro. Colorado Springs still in possession and weasels its way out for a goal kick. This is definitely Bolu is playing in the 6. This is a total change. They're not even playing they're not playing a back 5, I don't think. I think it is truly a back 4. Bolu and Rose as 2 holding midfielders.
Yeah, it looks like a double pivot.
Yeah. With Calvillo ahead of them.
Yeah, it does look a little bit like 4-2-3-1. Wow.
Really? Wow. We were kind of cooking online about the fact that this was like, yep, same shit. And Brian has at least early doors, it seems like he's been cooking a little bit at the tactics board. So
it's so funny how giddy we are about it. I'm like almost embarrassed.
Like,
no, it looks good.
End stream. Don't look at me.
Press now.
Yeah.
What I will say though is if we did go to 4 at the back, which it certainly looks like we have done, it is interesting that Lucas Stauffer keeps his place on the left.
Yeah, very interesting.
Being right-footed, so. But obviously, you will do that because you'd rather accommodate Miles Lyons in his preferred position. So,
yeah, Mark, reinforcing, I think the vibe. Yeah, it looks like 4-2-3-1, and it, it's looked better, whatever that means. As Locomotive now in the attack, Stauffer trying to get in field. Rose out wide. Lions in, and that was into a dangerous area. Really good cross, but
really good shape on that cross, yeah.
Switchbacks able to clear it away, and Press is on again, but obviously the danger in the press is got to be sharp when they do break the press. And Locomotive looking good early doors, opening 10 minutes. They've had a good share of the ball and haven't conceded any big chances. So I mean, you can't really.
And I feel like the ball plays really true at Widener Field. You know,
Yeah.
it's a good
Good
place
surface
to play if you want to keep the ball on the ground. Absolutely. So
yeah.
That looked like a foul, but okay.
Oh yeah. Tejada came away with it, but luckily plays it over everybody's head, and Wade able to play it out to Alfaro. Obviously a long way to go in this one, but I do like the idea of Noah Dolenmeyer and Tony Alfaro next to each other in a 2 rather than either side of Bolu in a 3. As weird as that,
Yeah,
as that may sound.
you're not seeing Tony and Noah play the ball and then immediately make a run. They're kind of holding their positions, more traditional center back kind of positioning. So that's interesting. I think that's allowing them to just see more of the field and deal with situations. So
and not getting dragged out wide as much. I mean, I think they're both quite proactive defenders, so they probably will get into those areas at times like Tony is now, but it's more of a preventative measure rather than a necessity, if that makes sense. Like they're not getting dragged out into one-on-ones. They're contesting for balls over the top and those sorts of things. So yeah, this is promising open 10 minutes, I would say. Obviously, still want to see more in terms of chance creation as the half wears on, but they are putting Colorado Springs under quite a bit of pressure, and the press is doing its job. I mean, they're forcing Colorado Springs into a lot of odd situations, and I thought Stauffer kept that in, but
I thought he did too. I guess it's a throw in for Colorado.
I think in general, Amando is probably a little bit like that was a little bit unnecessary in terms of the the back heel flick to keep it in the first place when it would have just been a throw. But
Tony's got to be careful there with that kind of a challenge, trying to clear the ball through the man.
Yeah.
I think that'll be probably his last warning.
Yeah, and I mean, you got to think too, like a slight forward like Damos needs little invitation to embellish any contact from a big center back as well. Ball in the air there, and man, just the position of Bolu's involvement and Rivas as well as it was just mistimed there from Dylan thought he went a little bit early, so he just halted his run and just off time. But basically the touches that Bolu and Rivas are taking, I just like the positions that they're taking them in and sort of what runs are being made ahead. For Commissar Shorn here in the chat, I'm currently at like 11:35.
I'm at like 11:40, so just 5 seconds ahead of you.
Yeah. So long ball over the top. Damas interested in this one and left a leg out on Jamali Waite.
Waite didn't
to me that's
that outside the area, right?
No. I think it's a header. But I think he gets kicked, and this one's kind of naughty, I think, because
here's the angle.
He's nowhere near the ball, and he just kicks him full on in the chest. And again, we talked to, I'll hold my hand up and say that I'm not an advocate for a forward attacking the ball and getting carded for a genuine attempt to play the ball. That's a yellow. Yeah. Like there's just no world in which
he is booked.
Yeah. You just can't. You can't. I mean, he's nowhere near the ball. It's not a genuine attempt to play the ball. He just leaves a leg out. So shake of the head from Damas, but I think he can't have any complaints on that, because if it was a 50-50 or something like that, then I would feel some sympathy. But in this case, that's a nailed on yellow. even if it hadn't been the goalkeeper, like if it had been basically any player and you kick them that high, nowhere near the ball, like it's gonna be a yellow card more often than not. Now Locomotive trying to go long through Dolenmeyer, but not accurate. I think like go ahead.
I was just gonna say on this restart, Joaquin is the tip of the spear.
Yeah.
With Dylan kind of in the 10. So this is
a big shift.
Some stuff.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Trying things. No. I think if you
look at Bolu on the left wing. What's happening?
They're pressing actually as a 4, and it's interesting that Bolu is more involved in the press than either Eric or Liam as well, which is really interesting.
Right. And I think that's something that we really haven't gotten to see this season from Bolu is like this breadth of his athleticism, right?
Yeah.
That you don't really see all of that in the center back position, and Tony is ragdolling Ronaldo Damus again. That's a battle to watch tonight for sure.
Yeah, because they're clearly trying to key on him. I think like you said, Tony just has to be a little bit mindful of the fact that
he's got to be more clever.
Yeah. And the hand on the shoulder is just always going to be an invitation to go down. That's just.
So just checking it real quick. The weather in Colorado Springs, it is 55 degrees. So like a good 30 degrees colder than it is in El Paso.
Sure.
Nuts. But
we are settling into a little bit of long ball over the last 5 minutes that I'm not in love with.
Yeah, there's not been really many chances.
Yeah.
Both teams kind of filling each other out. I'll tell you what, though, Colorado's goalkeeper's having a shocker with his distribution.
Yeah. No, that's true. As Stauffer wins that one, headed on by Rivas for Moreno. Moreno into the box, and a tame cross in the end. You could see what he was trying to do, but gosh, for the amount of times, we've probably seen Moreno in the penalty area 10 times this whole season, and you just want him to do something decisive, but obviously just a little bit of a miss kick there, and I think maybe the wrong choice as well, because I don't know that even if he does strike that well, it felt like more of an area to cut it back rather than play it kind of across the face.
So this is Colorado's game tonight, is they're going to launch that ball into the channel for Damus and try to isolate Noah Dolenmeyer. So just watch for that, because I think Noah's gotten a little bit caught out on some of these.
Yeah, they've got it out on the left-hand side, and the cross is going to come in, deflected, and caught by Waite, but out for a Colorado Springs corner. So first corner of the match. Yeah. For either side. But Colorado Springs with an opportunity here from a set piece. The real ones in the chat will remember possibly the craziest game in Locomotive history. The 4-4 at Widener Field, where Locomotive came back from a 3-0 deficit to tie it 3-3, then actually took the lead, and then Colorado Springs scored a very controversial winner as the cross comes in, headed at the back post, and then struck, kind of comes through a crowd of bodies, and then headed away by Bolu. Still not clear, and Locomotive kind of messing about, you might say, with this one.
Malik Foster with the no-look pass down the line there. Okay.
Eventually went over the bar, but a little bit of a. They'll just need to be sharper, I think. That they just didn't ever make a decisive clearance. But one of the craziest matches of all time, in Locomotive history, in this building, and that controversial equalizer where the sent off Brendan Burke celebrated with his whole team, on the field, and then Andre Egalus was down with a head injury when the goal was scored. So yeah, just say
Yes. Oh my goodness. Forgot about that.
That was a weird one. Still an incredible fight back. Like at 3-0 down, we were thinking like, how bad is this going to get? And then the team ended up actually taking the lead, which was just, yeah, the John Hutchison era in a nutshell, I guess. But Locomotive in possession now out on the right-hand side. And 20 minutes in, I'm still trying to wrap my head around the fact that we are actually playing a different system.
And like it's actually progressing the ball. Like
yeah, header on by Dylan, brought in field. I think it's Eric out there in that like wide right channel. And then Alfaro across to Stauffer. Stauffer crosses and Colorado Springs able to deal with it. And then Malik Foster keeps it in and Tony Alfaro comes flying in and puts it into touch.
I'll tell you what, Tony Alfaro is very brave. Like he does not shirk those opportunities to slide in. And more often than not, he gets it right.
Yeah.
20 minutes gone, 0-0. Not a whole lot in terms of chance creation, but it is nice just seeing something different.
Yeah, and I think, we talked about wanting to see some more cohesive buildup, and I think like at the very least we are seeing like how it can make sense. It hasn't quite come together yet as they're playing it down the left-hand side and it goes out for a goal kick for Locomotive. Also a quick watch out that the referee is giving sort of like everything that they ask for. Not they in Colorado Springs. I think like the players in general. Like I think he's just sort of like acknowledging all contact as a foul. So yeah, that's something to look out for tonight.
Man, I was just going to say, Noah's basically gone long every time. The one time he tries to play a line-splitting pass, it's a turnover.
Yeah, and Colorado Springs straight back onto the ball. I would like to see and maybe this is you fix one thing and break another, but I would like to see our center backs find our midfielders with a little bit more consistency, but Locomotive playing through the lines decently here.
Really
great pass from Eric, and then a nice back heel from Joaquin Rivas to Amado Moreno. Eric continued his run, and Amado had the right idea looking for him, but was really ambitious in trying to beat two Colorado Springs players with that pass. But you see then in losing possession, the importance of Bolu in the 6, where ball goes into touch for a throw rather than a dangerous counterattack for Colorado Springs.
Right, and it's into touch in a place that's not super threatening because he can make up that ground. So yeah, I like that.
Yeah, just immediately resets the play. Him and Liam, I think it is a true 2 there,
and it looks like off the ball, Eric starts to tilt wide and turn it into a 4-4-2.
Yeah, which I mean we've seen Brian. As Colorado Springs threatening to get in behind. Ball comes to Damas and he finishes. And for all the good work that was being done, it just they got in down the right-hand side, and as a cross.
Tony Alfaro, he didn't know whether to stick or twist on that one.
Yeah.
Whether to close the crosser down or go back, and then it's just not good enough at the back post, unfortunately.
Damas being allowed to chest a ball down and take a touch in the area is just like he can never have that amount of time.
No.
Or I guess it comes off his thigh before he shapes to shoot. But Koa Santos was the one who delivered the cross in, and just too much time for Damas to be able to shape and shoot. And Jamali, I think unsighted maybe, but it was closer to him than I originally thought as well.
I mean, I think that all starts with Tony Alfaro not really deciding which man to go with, because Noah then has to come across and cover his space, and then Miles is basically square in the middle of the the goal, and that's
Yeah.
really not his game to be blocking things off the line. So yeah, that's unfortunate. Good finish, to be fair.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can't give a guy like Ronaldo Damas that much time.
And I think, I mean, basically the call here is like, you now have to, like, the team has to take that for what it is and not spiral.
Yeah.
Because that's sort of what we've seen from this team is like heads drop when they concede. And the unfortunate thing about conceding that goal right then is the opening 22 minutes had been probably some of the best football that we've played the whole season.
Yeah. No, I mean, we're moving through the lines really well. It's just those final details in the attacking third.
Yeah, Stauffer looking for that through ball and not quite getting it right. Gosh, yeah, they get out of shape once, and I mean, you made mention of it on the pod. Like, this team is also, I don't know if expected punishment could be a like a advanced analytic, but basically, like, that is the first time they got out of shape basically the whole game, and they get punished
for it. Yeah, no, it is. I mean, that's the part of our season that where I have some sympathy for the guys, because there are teams throughout this league making mistakes and not getting punished in the way that we are.
Yeah,
it's just everything that we do that is right here. There's a good replay showing kind of Tony not really committing, and maybe Lucas can do better there too, or Armando, but
it's sort of like not. And I think this is something that you often say is like recognizing the danger, right? Like I think neither Lucas nor Armando realize like, oh, this could be really bad if he gets in.
Right.
So like neither covers really that space. Yeah.
Right. So yeah, I mean, I think we are getting punished to a degree that like there's got to be a stat out there to explain it, but but that's football.
Because I came into this live stream 100% thinking that like when we went behind, I would be able to just like talk more shit about the system and all and like how the players fit into it and all that stuff. And like I honestly, the way that they're playing right now, like I don't feel compelled to do that. I will say that there are still the concern, like I think the thing that they're having trouble shaking despite the system change is that sort of like immediate impulse to just like go long.
Yeah.
When the shape of the team really lends itself to like breaking lines and trying to work your way through the gears rather than just going front to back, like with a single pass.
Yeah, that's a good point. I would like to see us be a little more patient on the ball, try to like string more passes together, even if that means, passing back a little bit just to settle, because I think Colorado have really settled nicely into the game.
They have. No, Ange Postecoglou. Stop fucking passing
fucking backwards.
Oh, ball in behind, threatened to get in, and it looks like a corner. Miles Lyons. I think he chose. It is a corner for Locomotive, I think, in the end. But see, this is the type of thing too where you're like, I'm glad to see this, and I think Miles takes the wrong option. Like, I think he should square that.
Yeah.
I don't think he knows where the runners are necessarily. But
Miles has been out of the starting 11 for some time now, so I guess a little bit of rustiness is expected. But when you get your chance, you got to take it. So big night for him.
Well, Dan, I can say it's been better. It's been better. So don't be too frustrated by the scoreline. There's been signs of life.
And if not better, or at least different. Because I
It's
think
been
that's
it's been different.
yeah, that's what
We're
we've been
trying
asking for
something.
too.
We're trying something. Rivas over the corner. Whipped in at the near post. Eric was going for the flick, couldn't quite get it. Bolu looking for a nod on, and then Eric looking to put it back in the mixer. Noah competing, and then gives the foul against Noah, which again, I think there's nothing really in that. But
When that came down, I thought Eric might go for the volley.
I thought so too. Like he sort of shaped initially like
Yeah,
he might
he
hit
looked
it,
like he was
and
gonna
then
swing it, and then yeah,
where I would have been fine with that, and then he kind of thought
I
against
would
it.
rate him to get that on target from there.
I think
So
that's actually like it doesn't matter because Noah's header goes behind. That's actually a kind of shocking call for a foul. Like
yeah,
a goalkeeper who gets to use his hands getting out jumped by a dude who's 6'5" or 6'7" or whatever. Like that's his fault. Like
yeah, the Noah gets a lot of calls against him for being 6'6".
yeah, like why are you
like for
tall?
just existing as a large man.
Good challenge there in midfield, and Bolu ends up with it. I think it was Liam who flew into that, and honestly, I'm here for more of that. But Tony goes long, and that's like, I'm good with that. Like, let's just try to get it to some. Oh, and Tony flew into a challenge there, and now is totally out of position. Foster up with Damas. Oh, off the post. Foster nearly punishes the mistake. It was Alfaro too, again, like who was out of shape, and then the pass there from Eric, eventually cut out by Liam. Liam's having a absolutely storming opening half hour, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Moreno, given the foul and almost on the verge of being booked in the process for being fouled because of dissent, giving it the big one to the referee, but Foster here inches away.
Foster is an absolute menace, I tell you. He absolutely drops the shoulder on Lucas Stauffer and leaves him for dead.
It's a good finish too. It's just he's just unlucky. He's a thick coat of paint away from.
Yeah.
And I mean it's a clear foul on Moreno, but this is a good question. So RNDC 82, I think got in a bit late, but hearing a lot about the change this game. How hard is the strategic change for the players? I think like the hardest thing is just understanding the spacing between players and where they're going to be in a specific situation. Like when you train a tactic over and over and over and over again, is I think Locomotive have earned a corner here. Some good play down the right, but when you've trained that tactic like so many times, it becomes almost instinctive. Like, exactly when I've got the ball here, I know I've got these three options, like typically or whatever. And so I think what we're seeing now is they just don't quite know where everybody's going to be as Rivas delivers the corner in. It does reach Rose at the back post, who puts it back in, headed away by Colorado Springs, and Foster just far quicker than Rivas, and I
didn't realize Foster
he's just
was
rapid.
This rapid. Yeah. My goodness.
Foster playing it across. Tejada trying to keep this one in, but can't quite. Yeah, Foster, like that, watching that foot race between him and Rivas. Rivas is not, I mean, I know he's I think he's like 31, but not slow by any stretch of the imagination. Yeah, Malik Foster just absolutely left him for dead there. Like he just was onto that ball like a flash. I said a couple of weeks ago on my recap on Protagonists that Malik Foster looked like he was finally like enjoying his football again, and he definitely looks to be enjoying it the last couple of weeks. He just really backs himself, and it comes through in these sorts of runs and just like how positive he is. And as much as it pains me as a Locomotive fan to say he's a little unlucky to not have added to the tally tonight, but
right. But that won't be the last we see of him.
No, certainly not.
He's in a rich vein of form.
Well, still 1-0, just over half an hour gone. approaching the 33rd, the end of the 33rd minute. And Colorado Springs attacking down the left-hand side. A little bit of interchange here, and then all the way out to Tejada on the right. Looks to whip across in really good shape on that. Noah does enough to deal with it, but it's coming back. Santos, who assisted the opener, the fullback on that right-hand side, really involved. And I think you can see a little bit emerging, I think, right now, the Colorado Springs familiarity with the way they play is just like shining through a little bit at the moment, versus how Locomotive are adapting in real time, almost like on the job training tonight for for
Right.
Locomotive.
Right. Colorado almost hit Damos in that space again.
Yeah.
But yeah, Damos very clever. Just he's giving Noah Dolemeyer a lot to think about tonight.
Like, I know our center backs are like coached a certain way, and like I'm begging them to stop playing the long pass. Like,
yeah,
like clear it if you need to. I'm not saying like don't boot it, you know, if you can't avoid it, but there has to be a better way. Like we can't just keep hoofing it. Especially when we've looked better in the moments that we get it down and actually play with the ball. But that's sort of the story of the last couple of seasons. Stauffer a little bit out of shape there as the ball works its way to Tejada. Shapes a shoot. Stauffer gets a block in. Santos floats across to the back post, and Foster gets the volley wrong, luckily, but it comes out to Speedy Williams, and then Bolu gets fouled. A little bit overzealous from Tejada.
Don't like that call, but it's the right one.
Yeah. They are swinging their lightsabers in disgust. American sports fandom is really like so crazy. Just like promotional nights and stuff like that. It's just like, it's just not a thing anywhere else. This ball coming down the right to Tejada. Damas takes it first time, but straight at weight.
Rebel scum.
Got the first rebel scum shout of the game. Mistouch by Dylan. Safe to say Justin Dillon hasn't had the sharpest first half in terms of like what we've become accustomed to in his like hold up play and
well, the ball hasn't really been near him that much.
That's fair too. As Bolu whistled for the foul there. And Colorado Springs bring it back, but
I'll tell you what, Colorado are just that bit sharper in their first touch.
That too, yeah.
I think things are kind of bobbling for us at the moment.
Locomotive able to cut that one out. Miles,
he just bombed on. Like, yeah. He was out.
Yeah,
Didn't
I think
really give anyone an option.
I will say though, in general, and obviously long way to go in this one, but it does feel like, and maybe it's just a comfort thing with this with a back four versus a five, but it does feel like Miles is playing more to his like normal level and sort of like his natural game right now. It feels a little less I mean, he just looked a shadow of his former self in the opening games, has to be said. As a quick throw here, Dylan onto this one, and he crossed it, but Rivas was just a step and a half behind where Dylan played the
Really
ball
good
into.
throw.
Great throw, yeah. Love the quick restart, and I was hoping that some Dylan slander would have some sort of immediate response,
as it usually does for
Yeah.
us. For me in particular.
All
Yeah.
Mika needs to do is just talk poorly about a player, and they're
they
certain to have an
score.
impact. Herrera taking his time with the restart. Colorado Springs still lead by 1 goal to 0. Akinyote is not on for Moreno. Wasn't able to be turned into anything, but couple of signs here towards the end of the half, and another quite quick whistle, I think, from the referee in terms of it's not taking much to buy the fouls. I mean, there is some slight contact there from Liam, but Tejada misplays that.
I tell you, Colorado have some very impressive athletes.
Absolutely.
So much pace.
Locomotive trying to play through the press here and not doing a very good job of it, but do eventually get it down. And then outside of the boot, pass played out to Moreno. And this is the type of space that you want to see someone in. Moreno still, and he's just picked the completely wrong option. Like, he got into an area where I'm like, absolutely have a go. And he I think Justin Dillon also thought he was going to shoot, and he plays a 2-yard pass to Justin Dillon in the box.
Yeah, and he's incensed. But, I mean, you got to think that he has to have that curler into the far corner.
If I'm Justin Dillon, I'm absolutely, there's no way I'm expecting a pass there.
Yeah, no. Dillon looks like he's making room for the shot. I mean, that's such a great ball by Liam, too, by the way.
It was an unbelievable pass.
Yeah, no, Mondo for me, he's got to take that on. I think
you shoot that, and then Dillon is your rebound option.
That's the sign of someone with not as much confidence as you'd like, I think.
If a forward makes a 2-yard pass in the box, like, something is desperately wrong. Like,
right. Yeah, he
was in a central
area.
Instinctive
next time.
You just got to have a go, man, and then you put it on target. Maybe maybe if it's saved, you force a rebound. There was no universe that I didn't think that move ended in an Armando Moreno shot after he did so much work to get central.
Yeah, he skipped past the guy really well too. That's just a shame.
Yeah.
But hey, that's another good move up the pitch, so.
Yep. No, it has to be said. And as Alfaro going long this time, it's going to find Dillon, and he's got options. Works his way into the box, cuts it to the edge of the area. Worked out wide for Miles. Miles in for Rivas, who made a good near post run, but over his head. And they're a final pass away, or the final decision away from a really good opportunity here, and they're just not quite there. But I'd be shocked if there's not a really good scoring opportunity before this game is over.
Absolutely. I mean, with it being almost to halftime, is the idea just hold the line and let's regroup?
Yeah, it could be. As nice little interchange here between Dillon and Moreno. Was there a handball in there?
I don't know. It bobbled around kind of awkwardly.
It took a weird bounce for sure, but Locomotive maintaining
possession. Minutes have been all us, though.
Yeah. No, it's been a good swing, and it's almost one of those things where now it feels like Colorado Springs will be the ones hoping for the halftime whistle. I would love to see a replay of the handball incident, but I doubt we'll get one from Switchbacks. but yeah, it has been. It's almost now where Locomotive won't want the halftime whistle to blow. They'll want to try to take advantage of this spell. Stauffer plays the ball out for a Colorado throw. A little bit of a field position play there from Christian Herrera. Just Foster, initially a very nice move to he took almost 3 Locomotive players out of the game initially, but they recovered well and didn't fall for the second set of feints. But yeah, gosh, just such a problem when he's feeling himself. Ball goes all the way back to Herrera and then hoofed long. Stauffer able to take this one down and then plays it back to Waite.
That ball from Jamali into Tony was
confident.
Yes. What a turn from Liam Rose. Oh my goodness. He's having a stormer.
And then Alfaro. Yeah, gosh, man. He is just, speaking of feeling himself, as Rivas flicks this one through to Dylan. Dylan's got Moreno ahead of him. Just a little bit out of time, but Dylan shapes the shoot, and you know what? I don't half mind that. But maybe then having a word with Moreno and saying, like, see, that's what you should do. There's a timing piece here where if Dylan gets that one under control, like slightly quicker, Amando's made like a brilliant run in between the center backs, and the right through ball puts him through. But
I mean,
he sort of had to delay.
That last bit of play, that last phase shows us the risk and reward of not hoofing it, right? Because it was a little dicey at the back there, but once we got out, we moved through the gears really well, and it results in that chance. So, it's up to each individual person if they like that high risk, high reward style.
Sure,
I am used to it because I watch Arsenal Football Club, and that's how we play. But
Liverpool, also, yeah. But no, it's no, it is crazy, like how I just think, the thing that we have often said, and I think this goes all the way back to, the middle of last season, is we know the quality in the side. Like, we know that the team has the quality to get down and sort of like exert its quality on the opposition and say, like, no, this is the game we're going to play. And it can be frustrating at times when they choose to play like a simpler style. When you think there might be more to gain from playing with a little bit more risk. As a slip in midfield here and Rivas onto it. We've played the additional minute.
Whew, that whistle. Saved by the whistle.
And Rivas just delayed a bit. The referee was happy to let play go on as we got into an attacking area, and I think we kind of missed a trick there in getting the last attack of the half. But we go into the half. Colorado Springs 1-0. I mean, obviously Ronaldo Damas with the lone goal so far, Mika, but as many Locomotive fans would log, if they hadn't watched the first half, they log in at halftime and they think same shit, different day. And it's been different shit. not shit. It hasn't really been shit. It's been pretty good. It has been different.
Yeah, no, it's a different shape. The patterns are different. Now, you can tell that the players are still trying to come to grips with it because it's not what they're used to. And I think by and large, Colorado had the more opportunities, more shots on target. They do score their one goal. So, that's the one statistic that really matters. But I think we as Locomotive fans have been wanting to see something different, and we are. Now, whether that comes to Whether that actually results in 3 points obviously remains to be seen. We're down 1. We're hardly out of the game. Um, I'm encouraged. I'm encouraged. I know the bar's on the floor, but hey, we'll take it.
This is a comment from hell.
I want to know though what chat thinks. Like, do they think like,
Yeah.
this is a bit gimmicky, or does it look better? Because we have our preconceived notions of what we like and don't like, and
Yeah.
but I'd love to hear other opinions.
Yeah. Because I mean, I would say in general, like the way that we've played, or the way that we've characterized this back 5, back 3, ever since we started playing it last year, we started playing it in a period of time where we weren't getting results, as a way to like, hey, this is a more pragmatic system, and this is going to be sort of like, yeah, it's not going to be pretty, but we're going to get like good results, and we're going to play like good defense and stuff like that. That's never really been true of that system. And I think in general, like, you talked about the risk reward of, sort of the playing it out from the back and really like trying to break presses by playing through them rather than over them. I think the same goes. I think the same thing kind of applies to this. This system is a little bit more proactive, a little bit more emphasizing of guys' strengths. And while it could feel like a risk in playing a back 4 versus a back 5, I think pragmatism or perceived pragmatism has actually been our enemy for the last, like, now we're talking about going back to like last June. So just about a year, right? Of we've tried to play a pragmatic style, and the results have been poor, like in that system. So sort of you come back around to like pragmatism is actually taking more risks. I don't know if that makes any sense.
Yeah, no, I think this point here from Ramos 5173 is also worth discussing, because
Yeah.
while we saw some things that we liked and it was different, I think this is true regardless of how you arrange the 11. And we saw that in the like non shot from Amando Moreno when he skips past a couple defenders, finds himself in the box, has the space to curl one, and he goes to pass it to Justin Dillon, which was the wrong decision, right? A more confident Amando Moreno probably has a crack from there. So, and like I said as well, I think Colorado are just better so far at keeping the ball moving and having good first touches. I think we've been a little loose with the ball, and have made some incorrect decisions at times. Particularly, I think Noah Dollenmeyer has struggled a little bit with trying to build up. So yeah, I mean, all those things have a lot to do with confidence, and I just wanted to point that out because I think that's really fair, a fair observation. So.
Yeah. And how many, it's so funny when you talk about confidence, like players, individual player confidence obviously plays such a role. And like the mood of the team, regardless of what is said, about, like, obviously the camp is going to try to circle the wagons a bit and make sure that they're like presenting a strong face and all of that. And like at the end of the day, like if you've played 8 games and you haven't won any, like the team's not going to be in the best place mentally.
Right.
So like, it's just like the idea, I don't know, like to me, obviously we've talked about sort of the mental strength required to work through a moment like this, because it's just It takes leaders. It takes like people getting an arm around people and making sure that, because I think like the key and I guess where, you know, you expect the manager or the captain and all that to make a difference is like a player like Amando Moreno. You can't afford him to ever be low on confidence, right? Like you always need him to believe in himself. Um, and so, you know, if those sorts of guys are like really struggling for confidence, then that is just a tough hole to dig out of, and it can become sort of a self-fulfilling prophecy. And I'm sure, like, I think the biggest thing about this halftime team talk from Brian, and from like the squad, has to be the fact that like sort of what we're saying is like they can't assume that here we go again, right? Like they've got to believe that this is different and like it's been fine, we've been playing well, we've got to trust ourselves to like get back in the game. So yeah, it's a little bit of a, I guess, focus on the confidence for the second half.
This is funny. I knew my nonsense would come back to haunt me. I want to know what the LinkedIn lunatics would do about this situation.
LinkedIn lunatics.
Oh man. Yeah, it's a very tough moment in Locomotive history, but you just know that this team is capable of so much more than they've shown. Yeah. I mean, surely the law of averages will work out for us at some point, and we'll win a game. But it's May, and we still don't have 3 points. So
yeah, not even 3 total points, which is brutal. We don't even have 3 draws to call our own. Yeah.
What's going on in the rest of the league? Can you give us like a scoreboard update?
Yeah, quick scoreboard update. We've got so earlier action today. The biggest news of the day was that Memphis 901 beat Tampa Bay 4-1. Forrest Lasso sent off early in that one, and a lot of discourse about that decision on Twitter. I'm going to say this on a stream so that I don't have to tweet it. But for big, passionate fan bases like the Rowdies have, just because you're loud online doesn't make you right. Like, I'm just going to say that. Okay, so yeah, and to Jake's point down here, now he gets sent off. Like Forrest Lasso, who was on
absolutely stonewall red card.
It's a red card. It just is. It just simply is a red. It's a denial of goal scoring opportunity. He has a hold of the player. The player's the wrong side of him. Like, he's goal side of him. It is a red every which way you slice it. In less controversial circumstances, Charleston Battery beat Hartford Athletic 1-0. Thought that one was going to get a lot uglier, but Nick Markanek scored the only goal that I will have in the conversation next to Javier Navarez's as far as like goal of the season with the bicycle. Absolutely. I mean, and it's not a like loopy bicycle. Like, he connects with that thing. Yeah, just an absolute stormer. Then we had a couple of real dull 0-0s. Loudoun United, very unlucky, I would say. They got kind of Steinwashered against Detroit City FC. Not able to finish off the multitude of big chances that they had in the rain in Virginia. And then North Carolina FC and Rhode Island FC playing out to one of the most predictable 0-0s you will ever see. Pittsburgh got a 1-0 win over Miami. Keziah Sterling scoring in that one. So the former Spurs and South Georgia Tormenta player now plying his trade out in Pittsburgh. Birmingham Legion scored a 94th minute equalizer to rescue a 2-2 draw against Tulsa. Philip Goodrum and Stefan Stojanovic had scored for Tulsa before Enzo Martinez and Stefano Pino scored for Birmingham to bring that to claw that one back to 2-2. So that was a little bit more exciting out in Alabama. And Michi Nider Cherry in games going on right now, Michi Nider Cherry has just scored his first goal for Oakland Roots under new management following the sacking of Noah Delgado. So Michi Nider Cherry, who the Haitian, scoring his first goal for Oakland against San Antonio in San Antonio to take the lead 1-0 there in the 66th minute. And then this is the only other ongoing game in Colorado. Still to come tonight, Monterey Bay FC hosts Indy 11. Vegas with a peculiar 8:30 p.m. kickoff against New Mexico United in Vegas, and Phoenix Rising and Sac Republic round out the USL action for the night in what should be a very entertaining game. Couple of teams in decent form, but yeah. So
Jake, I am keeping a side eye on the Bruins. They absolutely that team just chaps my ass. I'm so tired of these 3-1 series lead bottle jobs. I would not be surprised if the Toronto Maple Leafs win tonight, but yeah. That's my hockey rant for the night.
I am so sick of y'all.
100%.
Shout in the chat from Harry. San Antonio losing at home. I did want to take a glance at this Oakland Roots team. Oh yeah, no, they've got the regens in.
No, not.
they've got the random academy kids. This is actually kind of crazy. Johnny Rodriguez on the bench, Brian Tamakis on the bench, Nabil Hackshaw came off the bench, and Mark Velashvili came off the bench as well. Niall Logue not in the 18.
Huh.
Neither is Memo Diaz.
Wow, that's giving new sheriff in town dropping all the big players and just trying to send a message y'all have not been good enough. That's crazy.
That's crazy, man. Ruthless.
Extremely.
No, they are playing a bunch of kids I've never heard of. Outside of the other main starters, so Trayvon Reed, Clint, Babacar Ng, Camden Riley, and Napo Matsoso. The rest of the kids, I've never heard of these guys. Paul Blanchette didn't even play in this game.
Well, I'm seeing that we're about to kick off for second half.
Yeah, we are. We are lining up for the second half kickoff. Doesn't look like any changes either way. And
I have kickoff.
We are underway in the second half. 1-0. Colorado Springs leads. Locomotive going long right from the kickoff. Out for a throw.
Nightfall in Colorado Springs, it looks like.
Yeah, fully under the lights now as the ball works its way out to Malik Foster out on the right, and lots of space for Foster to run into. He plays it to the back post. Tejada just not able to track that one down, but not the sort of space that you love to see Malik Foster
right
able to operate in. But why did the refs have to dress like Melvins? Is Melvin's like, this is a serious question. Is Melvin's like common use slang, or is that a reference to the movie Pop Star? Does anyone know that movie? The Lonely Islands like mockumentary.
I know Melvins as in the punk band from Washington. Or I don't know if they're punk, probably like metal.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Anyways, Jake, drop in the chat if you're referring to something specific as Eric Calvillo. Oh, okay. Melvin was always a nerd insult when I was growing up. So I like it personally. I think like Melvin does it, like the connotation is clear. That's what I think, like it works well regardless. Context clues, like I'm able to tell what you mean, but no, there's a switch of play here. Eric Calvillo is like essentially playing on the right. Like I don't really know how else to. Like I think he's playing on the right of a 4-4-2. Like I think that's actually how we're.
That's what it looks like. Yeah.
Yeah, because it was like out of possession he was sort of dropping there, but now like he's actually taking touches in those wide areas. As Lions trying to get to the byline, has to turn it around and then just gets a little loose in possession out for his throw. That's actually that's disappointing. When you have possession in that sort of area, you dribble it out. It's a bit of a FIFA error. Bit of an awkward challenge there, but play goes on. Was that Eric? Who like fell, he sort of slipped as he went into the challenge and ended up like into, I think it's Real.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he slips. I don't think he was meaning to like chop block him there.
No, it was but it ends up being, yeah, he slips as he plays the ball, and it is awkward. Luckily Real is like seems okay to continue. Because it is one of those like unfortunate comings together.
Yeah.
But Colorado Springs already deploying some like time wasting. Like they were ready to take that free kick, and then they're like, "Oh wait, the goalkeeper's going to take it." Feels a little early to be doing that, but it's Locomotive trying to play through the press here, and Moreno fouled in the process. Well, good news for Harry if he's still in the chat, but I'm assuming he's probably at the game in San Antonio, like on in our chat. But but San Antonio equalized with 10 minutes to go.
Okay.
As now Colorado Springs win the ball back, and Tejada's onto it out on Colorado's left, able to get to the byline and then played out for a switchbacks corner. So yeah, corners have, I guess, sort of been few and far between. I feel like we're basically even, like maybe 3-2 them or something like that with this corner, but see what they can do. Corner's going to come in from the left, an in-swinger here. Headed away quite easily, and Moreno was trying to get it under control and just sort of misjudged the flight of it. And then when it was put back in by Colorado Springs, it was too long and out for a Jamali Wake goal kick. Yeah, opening 5 minutes of the half, sort of like as you were from the first half.
Yeah. I mean, they're still trying to press high. Which, now that I think about it, it really makes sense why Colorado have some beastly athletes, because you kind of have to be a beastly athlete to play at that elevation.
No, that's fair. A coach comes in and is like, all right, guys, we're going to press. And you're like, Are you serious? Bolu able to get the ball down and play it across to Rivas. Rivas lays it off, and Alfaro brave there in possession, and then does find Calvillo. This is a nice little sequence from Locomotive.
See, I'm okay with this. I'm okay with just hanging on to the ball for a little bit, not trying to hit the channel so immediately.
Yeah.
And just be patient.
I actually like that ball in behind for Moreno a lot. And Moreno has options in the middle, but headed away initially by Switchbacks. That's not a particularly good challenge for Miles Lyons.
That's really clumsy from Miles Lyons. He's got to do better there. Because Tejada's already had him on toast, and now he's on a yellow card.
He's on a yellow.
Not smart.
I'm glad it was yellow. That walk from the referee. I don't know if you like any time that a player sort of separated and then
not good. That replay is. That could have been more.
Yeah, he could have gone for that. He could have gone for that for sure. Honestly, if I'm a Colorado Springs fan, I'm probably losing it right now that he should be off. It is an
orange card.
It's a challenge. It's a challenge for the ball, which I think in the end sort of saves him. That he is going for the ball and catches Tejada as Tejada plays it. But yeah, it's not a good tackle. I wouldn't have
booked on the side. Oh, Brian Clarhaut is gone. That's cool.
Oh, he's actually.
Oh man.
Clarhaut off.
This is his second red card, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh boy, what did he say?
Still giving it to the fourth official as well.
Oh shit.
And John Burklow runs him his notebook, I guess, or his like little laminated cards. Yeah, Clarhaut.
Was that so he shows a yellow, was he showing a second yellow or he was showing yellow to someone else?
It looks like he shows him yellow and maybe also shows him a second yellow. It was really strange. I don't know. It's hard to decipher exactly what happened, but yeah, Brian Clarhaut sent off.
Not being escorted by security. Let's not be dramatic. Oh man, that's
that's the most. That is like a particularly Jersey thing to happen as well. To have to get escorted out by security as Locomotive, Armando just like chill for 2 seconds when you win the ball back in that sort of position, and now a Locomotive counter turns into a Colorado Springs counter, and Jamali Waite saves from Dolenmeyer's initial deflection. But
so the club is saying that Calvillo was shown a yellow and Clarhaut was shown a straight red. But so does that? I mean, what do you make of that? If your coach is being sent off, does that make you want to like fight more, or does that transmit like you're not in control?
I don't know. It's always tough for me. I think the problem I have with that particular sending off is it's kind of over nothing. Like
if he was mad at Miles Lyons' card, that's not a fight that he should take up.
No, pick your battles.
Challenge, yeah.
Pick your battles, bro.
But I mean, the frustration is obviously extremely high right now, given the state of the team right now. So
yeah,
that sucks.
Yeah, I think for me, you know, if I'm a player and it's clear that my coach has my back and all of that stuff, like I think there is maybe value in having a go at a referee, like as a galvanizing thing.
Right.
I just don't think that moment didn't strike me as particularly like
It wasn't
controversial as
necessary. Yeah.
Stauffer opting to play it back to Bolu. Then Liam goes out wide. Lyons is in some good space here. Lyons floats it up, but too tall for Dylan, and it's knotted out for a throw for Locomotive. Well, can John Burklow mastermind? How crazy would that be if Locomotive win for the first time? And I would feel bad, like for Brian.
I feel like the narrative would be so evil.
Yeah, the potential narrative would be so evil. Bolu onto this one. Bolu slots a shot in, and then does the flag go? No, the flag has gone.
Unbelievable.
I'm gonna need to see a replay immediately. See, this is the sort of thing that like I'd be fine with Brian getting sent off for this. Just runs down to the linesman and just like verbally abuses him.
He is offside. Damn.
Yeah, when the initial strike comes in, it's actually a good spot from the linesman.
I do love that throw in though. Just stick it in the mixer, cause chaos.
Yeah.
Long throw.
Yep. Christian is so messy. It's crazy. Everybody thinks that Christian is like a mild-mannered guy, and like he's actually like
he's the most violent.
He is the most violent. This is the audition. Oh, we got more Star Wars quotes as well in chat. It's a trap. So close, so nearly.
We had a question earlier by Adrian about assistant coaches, and now it's more relevant than ever.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
Not Marie Kondo.
But what was the? Oh, yeah. So the question about assistants. So, yeah, I mean, I would say that that's true. As this long ball over the top for Stauffer. We'll get to the question in a second. Stauffer getting past his man. Opted to cut it back. Calvillo collects it. Just a little sloppy from Locomotive, but Lyons able to keep this one in. Calvillo doing really well here to keep this all alive. Moreno went for the switch to Lyons and just headed out by Tejada.
So San Antonio took the lead and then conceded a penalty kick. And now it's all square 2-2. Anyway,
funniest possible outcome. What was that game where Manchester United got like absolutely battered? Was that Brighton? Oh, a shot comes in from Rivas, but wide, well wide in the end. Was that when Manchester United, they got like battered by Brighton or someone like that, and then took the lead like completely undeservedly, and everyone was like, "Oh my God, they're getting away with it again. This is bullshit, whatever." And then they conceded a pen, and then they conceded an equalizer even deeper into stoppage time, and it was like, no,
yeah.
and it's like, no, this is actually funnier, like. It's
like
which
game that was, but I can see it in my mind's eye. Yeah.
It's like, yeah, they deserve to lose, and like them drawing from a winning position like deep in stoppage time is actually maybe the funnier outcome. Where it's like, I would love to see Oakland Roots with academy kids like unexpectedly beat San Antonio, but San Antonio sort of like restoring order with 10 minutes to go and then conceding a pen and it being level is funny. Like And we are feasting. We're feasting on scraps down here. Like we are straight up fucking hyena gang down here in El Paso, just trying to get any sort of joy out of this USL Championship season.
See what I mean about how other teams are not being punished for their mistakes? That is the most loose pass in midfield ever, and we don't hop on it.
Yeah, we don't do a
whereas if we did something
thing.
like that, it's in the back of our net.
Malik Foster latches on and
Yeah.
he's just simply gone. Yeah. No, it's true. Which I feel like there is a confidence aspect to that even, right? Like thinking that things will break your way and thinking that like, oh, we may have an opportunity here. But an hour gone, like, are you thinking that they're given the bench, like, do you think that there are any changes that Locomotive should make?
I mean, I think you kind of have to see if Tumi Moshabani can offer something. But it actually looks like Colorado will blink first, taking off Zandy for Enriquez. So
interesting. It's funny because Enriquez, I always think of as a like more of a danger. I know Zandy is obviously like more of an attacking player, but Enriquez is I guess you almost call this a like for like, maybe like just some fresh legs. I like the Toomey shout, and the funny thing is that it's typically been Rivas and Moshabane who, whenever there's been a sub of one, the other comes on, if that makes sense.
Right.
This might be controversial.
I might spare Lions too, just because of the yellow card.
Yeah, Lions is a good shout, probably for just needing to be protected in that way. But might be controversial. I would bring on Toomey as well, and I would bring on Toomey for Moreno.
Okay.
I don't think anything's happening there.
Yeah. No, that's not been his best night, and I mean he's wearing his frustration on his sleeve more than we've seen previously. Yeah. I think kind of throwing his arms up and not happy.
Well, and Jay, I'm not trying to.
Is not available.
No Navarez in the squad. So I would say, you bring on Hines and then you move Stauffer to right back. Probably would be the move.
Well, here we go. Toomey coming on for Joaquin Rivas, which that's kind of like for like, I suppose.
Yeah, I don't know. I think they had an opportunity. I feel like they had more opportunity to try something there, but in the role that Joaquin's played, I am excited to see Toomey play something a little bit more suited to his skill set. But Colorado Springs in possession, trying to go up to Foster. Couple of half-hearted challenges. Luckily, Stauffer does eventually like make one stick. And then Toomey immediately gets caught in possession in midfield. Foul eventually given Locomotive's way, which I think is lucky. Yeah. Well, so first half, full disclosure, I had a bit of a cocktail. Because I was gearing up for a rough one. I'm not gonna lie. But now I'm just drinking a little local IPA. Well, I say local. It's from Cleveland. Masthead Brewing. Masthead Brewing in Cleveland is Noah Dolenmeyer is gone for the Navarez strike here. Not exactly. I don't think he actually was shooting, but
nor does he have the facilities for that.
Yeah. Chat, if you are partaking in any sort of way, let us know. Always like to know as Bolu's fouled in midfield. Enriquez, the substitute, the offender in that case. Also, Chad, I gotta know. I gotta know what's where's everybody on this? Kendrick just dropped another Drake diss track. So, like, what are we just like calling it at this point, or? Liam plays it out wide for Miles Lyons.
Oh, off the crossbar.
Liam and in towards Dylan. Moreno with the bike and off the crossbar. And then Stauffer fired back in. Moreno flails at it and behind for a corner. Ay, ay, ay.
On your Derek Ray tip.
Yeah. Yeah, I was channeling him.
Oh my God, Amando's been so unlucky tonight.
Corner comes in, punched away by Herrera. And then ball eventually played all the way back to Jamali. Wait in goal. What goes long up towards Dylan? It might just sit down for Toomey here and then goes out wide.
Oh no. Oh no, Armando. you have to try to miss that.
How?
That's such a good ball by Bolu too.
How?
Armando actually contrived to miss that.
I told you, like, I'd have done Toomey for Armando.
But that's kind of why, like, I can see why he doesn't get taken off, because the chances do fall to him.
Mm-hmm. He just simply has to put that away.
No, he's got to score. You got to score. I loved the hesitation from Bolu to disguise that pass.
It's crazy because if he leaves it, Eric taps it in. Like that's so crazy. Like he tries to take it. Why is he trying to take a touch? Or does he just miskick it? It's got to be a miskick, right?
Yeah, I think he miskicks it. Bolu Akinyote is having a great game, by the way.
Yeah, Bolu and Liam have been absolutely wonderful, and Toomey here with a very nice run, and now Locomotive into the attack.
Oh, man,
things shaping.
Now.
Wait, what? They've given the foul against Locomotive, and he's booked Justin Dillon. Locomotive were on the attack.
If anything, does Toomey clip him?
Toomey clips his heels, but like it's not a foul.
Does Dillon get something for dissent?
I think it's just for dissent.
That's ridiculous.
That's a crazy foul to give, like when a counterattack is shaping up. Like
70 minutes.
And they're going ahead and taking their time over this free kick, which they're taking from.
Well, I'll tell you what, possession has evened out.
Yeah.
A little bit. It's pretty much even now. With the opposition having just one more shot on target than us. So, and we've had 8 shots to their 9. And we've had like double their touches in the opposition box. So,
yeah. Man.
Better on the creative front, but just not
definitely better.
It in. Yeah.
Definitely better. And Amanda Moreno, I mean,
so I tweeted, well, Brian Clarhaut has just been sent off, and someone tweeted, forever? Y'all foul for that. Like,
Uh, uh,
You just gotta
Ronaldo,
laugh.
oh, Malik Foster getting ushered off by Jamali Waite here.
Love that. Tejada off, which I don't mind, but now Hanya's coming on. Great.
Hanya coming on, which I don't love, and then it looks like Fjellberg maybe is also coming on. Many will remember him from RGV back in the day, but he also spent a spell at Indy 11. I think primarily because Mark Lowry remembered how much he hurt us as a member of RGV. Long ball towards Toomey,
I'm
cut
sick.
out.
I'm sick for the boys right now because I really don't think you can fault the effort tonight.
No.
But
it was easier when we could. Like, so after Tulsa, we could just say, like, yeah, that was dog shit. And, like, system sucked. Players weren't good. Like, everybody looks devoid of confidence, all that stuff. And it's like, they've put themselves in the right positions tonight. They just haven't gotten the bounces to fall their way. And like, as tough as it is to single out a player, like, Amano Moreno is in there to score those. Like, that's why he's in this side, right? And you just simply have to take those chances.
100%. And nobody will know that better than he does.
Of course. Of course. This is actually probably a pretty fair comment. And going back 3 years now, like, or, 3 different seasons, I should say.
Yeah, the home form has been, we've talked about it on the podcast. It's been not good enough. Looks like Nick Hines is coming on for Lions. Okay.
Yeah. Makes sense. Sensible switch. Stauffer goes to right back. Hines goes over to the left-hand side. The thing is that this game is still very much on, right? Like, this.
Well, yeah, Colorado have not put it away. Like,
no.
They've let us in.
Yeah,
but,
and they Locomotive obviously just have to take their chances here at some point to try to get back into it. And Damas running at Dolan Meyer. He's gotten a step on him, and luckily, it's an interesting touch from Alfaro before clearing, but. When you take the touch towards your own goal as a defender, like back infield.
The clearance from Hines was heartburn inducing.
Yeah.
Yeah, can't let us get too stretched.
Colorado Springs on the ball.
Nick Hines just sends him into the advertising hoardings. Wow. That's just following through on the challenge, I guess.
It was a good block from Hines to stop the to stop the service, and it is a corner for Colorado. Might need to have a chat about this frog. Just don't really understand what's happening there, but corner comes in, bounces around in the box far too much for my liking, and then gets floated back in over the bar. But
now Jamali Waite is in the book. Ridiculous.
I think he's basically appealing for the fact that he's been fouled during that sequence. I would obviously have to see it back for. Ball goes long up to Moshabane, which him trying to back people down, that's just like not. Whenever I see him in that position, I'm just like, why are we why are we doing this? Like, I think for Toomey, I can't help it. He's one player that I do have a lot of sympathy for. Him and Joaquin, but just like having to play in midfield, and then when they do play up front, it's as like a hold up guy, and it's just like, man, these guys are very skillful players who are sort of meant to be running onto the ball rather than
trying to take it out of the sky.
yeah. But 15 minutes to go in this one. Well, roughly 15 minutes, depending on the amount of stoppage time. And still 1-0 Colorado Springs. Locomotive have looked the more likely to score second half, and just haven't made anything count as of yet, as Stauffer does by the foul. I haven't, Jake, but good shout. I'm gonna take a look. I haven't seen that one out of Akron, but Akron is also, I never knew how, it's not Texas spread out, obviously, but it is spread out. Ohio is a little bit more spread out than I thought. I thought everything was sort of like an hour from each other. But Real given the free kick away and a chance here for Locomotive, 78th minute. And Moshe Bane, we've seen his deliveries have been very good in the pass into a dangerous area here, but headed away by Colorado Springs. Locomotive able to collect it. Calvillo puts it into the mixer, but Herrera catches, and obviously going to be taking their time.
It's getting a little stretched now, a little chaotic.
Yeah. Not the best back pass from Noah Dolenmeyer, but obviously Jamali Waite alive to it. But yeah, it's a little back and forth at the moment. What a challenge from Noah too. And actually a yellow card's been shown to Enriquez. Hopefully Noah's all right here, because he definitely gets caught. Be interested to see this one on replay and how it compares to the Miles Lions yellow card. Enriquez was it was a hands up yellow card as well. Yeah, I know I caught him, basically. No argument. Which often tells me that it's like, is he yellow enough if a guy's apologizing? But yeah, Noah struggling a little bit, but looks okay.
Looks like he's got a pretty decent gash there.
Yeah, and they still haven't shown a replay in Colorado, so they've gone close on Dolenmeyer a handful of times in that sequence, but opted out of showing the replay. So Alfaro has Hines in space and just completely misses him, but Bolu keeps the momentum going. Brave from Alfaro to play it through there like that, and then Bolu likewise in holding off a couple of challenges.
Yeah, did really well.
Alfaro simply has to hit Hines on that. Like, Hines is in acres. He simply has to find him, but the switch comes out to Stauffer now. Yeah, his ball was just a little bit too floaty. But you were saying?
No, I was just saying it looks like Colorado have kind of laid off a little bit on the press, and they're just waiting for us to turn the ball over. Want to consolidate the 3 points, obviously.
Offside given against Colorado and Hanya there. So yeah, we talked on the pod a little bit about Yosuke Honda and his, sort of a non-standard USL trajectory, and he plays for FC Tokyo in J3, and then comes over to go to college in the U.S., plays for UMass, and ends up getting drafted by the Colorado Rapids out of UMass, and then by extension ends up at Switchbacks. As Stauffer looking for a ball through to Calvillo there, but cut out by Switchbacks, and now Locomotive a little bit out of shape, and foul given against Noah Dolenmeyer on Damas. Couple of changes.
Craig coming back.
Yeah. And we are seeing a second appearance for
Emiliano.
Yeah.
Rodriguez.
Lucas Stauffer substituted here for Rodriguez. So wait, is it gonna be Stauffer? That doesn't really make sense. No, Stauffer's still on. Who's
Bolu's
come off?
going off.
Bolu is going off. So I mean, it's basically it's a go for broke sort of change, right? Because Rodriguez is going to probably occupy the Calvillo space. You imagine Calvillo will play like maybe more traditionally in midfield, but offers still some late runs in attack.
And Emiliano had some decent touches against Tulsa. I mean, it wasn't a huge sample size, but he didn't look like completely out of his depth.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think Eric's comments post match, he was to your question, was very complimentary of the kid in terms of his skill on the ball and just what he offers. Is that ball out for a Switchbacks throw? The tough thing about this performance, as of the 84th minute, is that for all of the ways that it looked better than Tulsa, it could end up just being the Tulsa game again.
Right.
In that, a 1-0 result, like, even though that is devoid of a lot of the context.
Right.
Rodriguez getting his first touches of the ball here. And yeah, I mean, it's sort of confirmation there that Eric is now occupying Bolu's position on the field, or where Bolu had been playing, I should say. And then Brandon Craig also getting his first touches and getting fouled there in midfield. Restarted quickly. It has to be said, just good to see Brandon Craig again. Like, obviously a bad injury as Toomey into the box, trying to skip past the player. Might have earned a corner here, and it looks like he has. So Toomey will probably take this corner. We've lost Mika, but she might be back in a second, I'd imagine. But Toomey's going to take this. 85th minute. No, actually, we're across the 86th minute now. Locomotive still the 1-goal deficit. Toomey floats this one in. Goes to the back post. Put back into the mixer. Dylan headed in and headed wide. Oh, it's Armando Moreno again. Oh, he has the entire net to shoot at. And he just nods it wide. I mean, is the narrative of this game going to be Armando Moreno could have won it for us? How's Armando Moreno contrived to miss that?
Sorry, my browser exploded as it always does.
It has to happen once. Amano Moreno's just missed another sitter.
He did?
Yeah.
Oh,
And
no.
this one, the worst of the lot. He's nodded wide of an open goal from the corner. They earned a corner. The initial corner like got cleared wide, but put back into the mix, and now Damas is threatening to run through. But man, Brandon Craig already looks very sharp. But Dylan, it got put back in the mixer. Dylan nodded it to the back post. Moreno made a great run to the back post and contrived to miss like an open net header. He had the entire goal to shoot at, and he just nods wide. I thought it was a goal. Like that's how easy of a chance it was. Just extremely disappointing from
What minute was
Amando
that?
tonight. 86th minute, so like right at the set, like at 85:06 or something like
Just
that.
so I can know to go back and watch it, because obviously I missed it, but
It's like 85:00, 85:10 or something like that is when they took the corner, I think. Because I made note of the time at the time, but it's absolutely brutal. Moreno could easily, as now a ball given away and now a penalty to switchbacks, and it's Eric Calvillo that's conceded it. Calvillo booked, which means Calvillo wasn't booked earlier in the game, clearly.
okay.
But penalty to switchbacks, and man, insult to injury here. Just it should be it should be level at least. Ball got cleared. Alfaro tried to play it to Calvillo. Calvillo gets caught, drags back. He pulls his shirt, and it's one of those like you can't drag him back by the shirt. Damas to take and slides it home 2-0 to switchbacks, and man, that is tough to take. Oh, sorry, I went over. So good.
That goes crazy.
That is of the Star Wars quotes, but man, Damas with a brace. It's sort of brain dead from Eric. It's just which sucks because he's been so good. He hasn't been as good as I think Bolu and Liam were the sharpest. Yeah.
It's sickening. It's sickening.
That is a brutal one because I guarantee we're going to end this game with a higher XG than Colorado Springs, which is fucking crazy. Non-penalty, obviously.
Right.
Because where are we at right now? Oh, I don't know. They're classifying no big chances for Locomotive tonight, and Opta might be busted with that one. This was there for the taking. That's the crazy part. Like this was winnable. And Eric giving away the penalty to like taking a loose touch on the edge of the area. I don't know. You just simply can't. Like I don't know. Echevarria coming on here for Colorado Springs. I mean, free kick here, but this is like, I mean, these are, these are sicko hours for Locomotive, because if they fucking score, I'll actually be mad.
Mondo Moreno, just like an absolute night to forget.
He could have had I'm gonna say hat trick, but it could have been, he could have had 4. Like, I'll forgive him the bicycle off the bar, but the other chances that he contrived to miss are just like, or chances he refused to take, I guess, is just like crazy. As Colorado Springs almost unlucky. Damas was on for a hat trick, and it sucks that the narrative out of this is going to be that Colorado Springs played like a really controlled game and just like really, just like professional and whatever, when like Locomotive should have won on balance. Like,
and Whataburger sales are in hell because of our form. Like,
we don't win. We got to win. Moreno into the box. If he does anything from this, no, cut back, cut out, and Colorado Springs are on the break. Why? Confident Moreno like goes off tonight. I'm convinced. All right, that's definitely a foul.
I like how the commentator said this is going to be our first loss by multiple goals. Like, that's an achievement. Fucking hell.
Oh man. They really have a way, right? Like, they really have a way of making you think that it might be in the balance. And that does it. This Christian Herrera giving it the big one when he didn't face enough shots, essentially. Like, he should have been more challenged. Oh, that's crazy. It's just wild because I never, you never thought that
the former Clarhaut player sticking the dagger in twice is crazy.
Yep.
But also like completely foreseeable.
Yeah.
That's diabolical.
That is crazy. Oh man, man, I don't really know what to say in the aftermath of that. Like, like they played well. And we didn't like they didn't create enough shots from the dangerous situations, and they we end up with only 2 shots on target, which is I think where the Amado Moreno
But we had the ball in the
criticism.
box a lot more than we have had.
Oh, for sure.
Which
No,
is
that's what I think. It's like it is a step in the right direction, which is why it's almost what makes it worse.
right.
I think
Right.
because shots on target, like for 28 touches in the box to only have 2 shots on target, it just you gotta I don't know. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, if social media is to be believed, the faith in Brian Clarhaut is
Gone.
non-existent.
Oh man. It's rough, but it's also like at this point you almost think like a coaching change after that performance, because I will say maybe this is overly bold, but I would say for the first time this season it felt like the team was set up for success. The issue is that like the team is also struggling with it doesn't, with like they have no confidence, so being set up for success didn't lead to like what it should in terms of even, like being in good positions and shooting and all that stuff, or just taking your chances. And it's like, does a coaching change at this point, do you do it just to reinvigorate the squad, right? Like almost the new manager bounce type thing where it's like, is the coach at fault for this loss? Like, no, I would actually argue that Brian is like not the one to blame for what happened tonight. And is that the easiest way to give the squad a shot in the arm?
So I completely hear everyone who's saying like a coaching change makes the most sense as the next step. The thing about that is we have to find someone to replace him.
Yeah.
And as we saw with Oakland Roots firing Noah Delgado, they just promoted his second in command. And I'll tell you what, I don't see John Burklow doing much better with this side. He had, as Christian pointed out, he had his audition tonight. But I mean, in all seriousness, if we want someone to like really come in and like make an impact, like it's just hard to find that person like mid-season. So that's just something to consider. I'm not saying therefore you don't do it or therefore you don't try. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of this question from Jake here: who would we even get to replace him right now? I mean, anyone that we might actually want is probably indisposed. So
yeah.
Well, and this is an interesting point too, because I think this is what you're saying, Phil, is essentially the players let the team down tonight.
Yeah. I think I has way more to do. I think tonight's result has way more to do with like a with poor execution at the top end of the field than it does with how the team was set up, which is a significant difference from how these last results have gone. Because in general, like I've felt pretty strongly that the system has been dysfunctional, and tonight it didn't feel like the system was dysfunctional. It felt like the system, like, I mean, it wasn't insane, right? Like we didn't play him off the park, but it was much better.
And we were still reverting to things that we've done regardless of system when we're low on confidence, like booting the ball 40 yards, right?
Absolutely.
Those are not things that a confident team does. A confident team will, keep the ball down and try to play some football. So yeah, I mean, I'm sorry, Amando Moreno, like he was brought in to score those chances, and he just simply had a shocker, to be honest. Justin Dillon didn't really impact the game in the way that you would like. I think the best part of our game was actually the midfield, the pivot of Bolo Akinyode and Liam Rose. I think that they played their socks off. But I mean,
it's
they
so
contrive not to score tonight.
Yeah. Well, and it's crazy to me because it's like we can say like Justin Dillon wasn't as impactful as we would like, and he probably should have 2 assists at the end of this game. Like,
sure,
which is crazy. Like, because we just haven't seen them getting into those areas, and I think like, yeah, I do think in general, the fact that the team played better makes me feel less intense about making a managerial change.
Although if it happened, we wouldn't be like, that's outrageous. Like, I can see why people are like, that's
for sure
going to that. Yeah,
for sure. And you can definitely see like why, like, because what are you gonna do? You're gonna, like,
can't sack all
never
the players.
exactly, like you're never gonna play Amando Moreno again. Like, let's be real, So yeah, I think in general, oh man, the club is just in a tough spot, and I think until everybody's talking about fighting and effort and all of that stuff, and like I know that there's a lot of effort going in training and all of that, and until like on the pitch players genuinely believe that they can like score a decisive goal or like make a decisive difference in the game, like until they truly believe that they can do that, then yeah, I mean, we're going to continue to sort of suffer from these type of losses where it's like, man, we're trying everything and it's just like not falling our way. And it's like, how much of your own luck do you make, and how much does believing
Yeah, I mean, if addressing this question here from
sure
chat, if Amando scores those goals tonight and when we win, I think we are saying a lot of the same things of like this new system, or this change in system, looked like it was putting players in places that they feel more confident playing in, more natural. There's still some bad habits there that we haven't quite dealt with, but then we would say, but hey, we got the win and now you can build on that, right? So yeah, just some individual performances really let us down tonight. And look, I mean, you do have to kind of look at Brian Clarhaut and say, why are you getting sent off for whatever that was? I mean, if it was an objection to the Miles Lyons card, it's a card. And it just shows you how kind of fraught the overall mood is of the team and the coaching staff, that the guy who's supposed to be pulling it all together can't make it through the whole game.
Right.
Um, but as for this question, is there someone losing their shit in the locker room right now? I don't know about players, like who really are those characters, because honestly, some of them are just so new that we just don't know those things. But
Sure.
I mean, Brian's pretty spiky. Like on the training ground, he can be
Yeah.
pretty spiky, and um, so I don't know. Maybe it's him more than anyone.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just gutting.
Yeah. No, that it's a tough one to take. Yeah, for a number of different reasons. I think chief among them, like I think mentally we were prepared to watch the same thing again and easily sort of call for, okay, well, there hasn't been any change. There hasn't been any, like, there's no signs of improvement. There's no signs of life. Like, clearly organizational change needs to take place, like, of some kind, right? And that would be sort of the easy way to approach that game. And what we got was an improved performance that looked more cohesive. Like, the chance creation was far better than it has been. The amount of opportunities and the amount of touches that we got in the opposition penalty area, I'd be willing to bet is the most of the whole season. I'm not 100% on that, but I'd be willing to bet that that's the most that we've had the ball in an opposition penalty area. And
27 touches in the opposition box. Yeah. That
and
seems like it.
And the result was unfortunately the same. And that's the tough thing to take, is like, I test miles better than we've been. Like, statistically, miles better than we've been. And like, your best goal scorer not scoring goals that he should. So there's so many different ways to point the finger, I guess, like in a performance like that. And it sucks because it's not the easy thing. It's not us saying like, yep, same shit, different day. And like, it's so obvious that things need to change. It's like, well, now when we analyze this result, we're going to be quite complimentary of the team, and we still haven't won a fucking game. So it's like, that's the reality, is like, you know, for all of the improvement, like, and that's where I think even more frustration comes from, because our initial frustration is all of the players in this team are good. Why aren't we a better team? You know, and then the team plays well and loses, and you're like, well, fuck, like, what are we supposed to do from here? Because when will it ever happen? Like, if even, you know, if we're even losing the games that aren't a total disaster, then like, how will we win? And I think that's where the, like, coaching change, you know, question comes in and everything. And like we've said before, a lot of times, like, we're not ones to call for people's jobs. That's not our, it's just not something that we're going to do. And like, either way right now, you could look at that, you could easily look at that result and say, well, Clarhaut clearly can get like a much better performance out of this team, so he needs time to like flesh out this new system. Or you could say that, like, well, he had 9 games to figure this out and only just figured it out, so he needs to go. So, like, you know, there's all kinds of different ways that you could approach it. But
any thing on the spectrum of those takes is valid.
Yeah, exactly. So Rodrigo Lopez has hit a stunner of a free kick in Phoenix for Sacramento to take the lead. So that's something that happened.
Yeah. Well, should we
We should
Call
probably
it,
wrap it up. Yeah.
let everyone get back to their lives and do something better in their time.
Let everyone live. Yeah, well, thank you guys for coming and hanging out. I mean, obviously super disappointing result, but ultimately a much more fun version of Locomotive to watch. I will say that. The football wasn't absolutely dire. So we have something to cling to there. But if you haven't listened to us before, we're on all the major podcast platforms, so catch us there. And we're on Twitter and YouTube and Twitch and Instagram at Seriously Loco. So check us out. And yeah, hope everybody enjoyed. Obviously, we would have liked a better result. We'll be back with an episode this week to recap what we saw tonight, but we'll look ahead as well to the next game. But yeah, thank you guys for joining, and until next time, stay loco.